Hi, folks. It's Rob Downs with Managed IT Solutions, and also with Midzane. I got it right this time. Though it looks like it's truncated. Gotta love it when the graphics don't work out. Anywho, it is, of course, the first broadcast of the new year 2026. It's Tuesday, the 6th. So, glad to have you here. Hope you guys had a great New Year's. Had a lovely one here at the Downs household. I actually managed to make it to midnight, which I thought my old man person would not be able to do. I kind of made it, and then I went to sleep. Anywho, what did we talk about last year? The very end of the year. So lots of people make resolutions. I mentioned this last week. One of the resolutions I'd love to see people make this year is change their passwords to make them stronger, right? So go get yourself a good password manager. And start changing those passwords. Do one a day. You'll get 365 good passwords in the course of a year, and enable MFA while you're in there, right? So we definitely want to make sure you're doing that. I could do the top 10 predictions of 2026, but it's technology, and honestly, I don't know that we could have predicted what we have now at the beginning of last year when it comes to specifically AI. Maybe we predicted that memory prices would soar. Perhaps we would have predicted that storage prices also would have soared because of AI. Honestly, I thought the video card market also would have been impacted heavily, just given who people who make the AI type processors are the ones who also make the high end graphics cards, right? So they're great at doing lots of little small jobs, which is what AI really needs these days. So what we're going to talk about instead is just going to be, again, back to maybe a New Year's resolution type thing, but some discipline, right? We want to make sure that we're getting things done effectively and that we're consistent. It goes back to change your passwords to one a day, right? Make it a habit. Be consistent with it. The same thing goes for cybersecurity. It's all about consistency. It's all about discipline, right? Being careful about where you click. Or who you click to. You want to make sure that you're verifying information when people ask for private information, that they are who they say they are, right? So there are different ways of doing that. Protect your passwords. Just don't hand them out to anyone who's asking. Most times, most technical folks, IT support types won't ask for your password most of the time. It can vary. I know in our company, typically what we end up doing is we'll change the password while we're working with the end user to something that we can work with. We don't need to know, and then we have the end user change it back to their password that they had before, right? So, from a physical security standpoint, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of your stuff if you're traveling. Of course, lots of people just finished traveling, but nevertheless, keep up with your laptops and your smartphones, etc. You don't want to lose those things, and make sure that you have tracking enabled on your smart devices. Most of them do, but some people turn it off. Final warning, real quick, is going to be, if you are traveling or will be traveling soon, be wary of USB type chargers in airports or any other places you might encounter. They do make dumb USB cables. When I say dumb, they don't have any data connectors on them, so that they can't be used to transfer data inadvertently. They only charge. That's all they do. Or, just make sure you have a wall wart, right? A power adapter to be able to charge your stuff if you need to, if that's possible. So on that same vein, because we have this happen to us on occasion and with our clients, is you want to keep your devices up to date, right? Make sure the OS is patched, all your applications are patched, stuff like that. And we do that for a lot of our clients. However, sometimes it does require a reboot. And you may get prompted to do an update and just keep putting it off. Don't. Just go ahead and get it done. Be done with it. You don't have to think about it anymore. And there's a reason they're pushing those patches, right? Most times, those patches aren't for new features. Usually it's to patch something that they know there's a security issue, right? And as soon as they issue a patch, as soon as any software manufacturer issues a patch, the bad guys, the cyber criminals, know about it, right? They know exactly what's wrong with that software, how to exploit it, because it's in the description of what the patch does. and they can take advantage of it. Honestly, most hacks aren't because of sophisticated hackers. It's because people leave default passwords on devices that are exposed to the internet, or they don't patch their systems, right? And they're exposed to the internet, or they get exposed to something that might come in on the network. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're taking the time to do the patching and get it done, right? So backup critical files. Yeah, if it's important, you should have a copy somewhere, either a cloud copy. You could have an external drive. Those are a little trickier. But keep in mind that syncs and backups are not the same. Syncs will fail and will not always tell you, or they will tell you and it'll be such a small notification you will never see it. Whereas backups typically will, since it's a primary function, they will usually flag you really hard that the backup has failed for some reason, right? So you always want to make sure. And a backup, you always want to try to do a test restore, right? If it's at home, on your own, etc. Once a quarter is probably okay. You might want to do once a month, but yeah, just move some files from one folder, or move your folder from one place in your hard drive to another place, and then check and make sure you can do restore. Don't do the same thing every month or every quarter, right? You want to make it a little bit different. Delete sensitive data if it's no longer necessary. Make sure you're keeping sensitive data in encrypted locations. And if there's something suspicious going on, if you have IT support, make sure you contact them and let them know if they don't already know. Sometimes we don't get alerts until, sometimes it's minutes, which is not bad. Sometimes it can be hours, which can make a huge bit of difference. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself or helping yourself out, right? So let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So, every year we see the same patterns rolling out. Particularly with businesses, they've got new tools that they've purchased. They got some new initiatives they want to start rolling out, but the fundamentals are still shaky, right? So security doesn't fail, again, because companies don't buy enough tools. It's because they fail to operate consistently. They, as I mentioned earlier, lots of hacks go through because people don't patch systems or don't change default passwords. Easiest 2 hacks there are, right? So MFA is rolled out, but it's not enforced. Our clients, we enforce MFA on 365, which is the big one. Password managers are licensed, but they're not used. We have that problem with our client base too, right? A lot of them have it. We give it to them as part of our security package that we provide, and we have to keep prodding them to use it. So it can be a hassle, right? Especially when you're first setting it up and using them. They're plugins for web browsers, so Edge, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, so they can help you autofill. So that there's a lot of savings to it. And just having secure passwords is just so important. And having different passwords is really important. Just because big data dumps happen all the time with username and passwords that are available for sale on the dark web. And so I tell people all the time, if I have your password for Netflix, I might have your password for your Citi card account, right? Because you're using the same password. You definitely want to make sure that you're changing the passwords. And I know I'm harping on it, but it's something so simple and so easy to do. And it just takes a few minutes a day, right? It's even easier than starting a simple workout routine. So, and the final thing, I want to mention is that 2 things actually. Backups are created but never tested, right? So you need to make sure you're doing that. And then finally, policies are written but not followed. And that happens across the board, especially in IT. Policies will be created that are written. Now, in IT, we're a little luckier than some other people possibly, because there are certain policies that we can just push down onto the computers into 365 environments or Google environments and enforce, like complex passwords. I can not only make it a policy, I can enforce it, right? You don't like it? Well, that's too bad, because it's the company policy and that's the way it is. So that's what we do. But there are always going to be other things that, IT or other departments come with policies, and they cannot necessarily enforce them through controls through IT. It has to be something that's acknowledged by end users and staff. And so, you know, if you're coming out with new policies for your company, or if your company has come out with new policies, please make sure you're reading up on them, that you understand what they're saying. And if you don't understand something, there's nothing wrong with asking for clarification or help, right? So we talk about our core values here at Managed IT Solutions. One of them is, teamwork. So we want to make sure that everybody on the team understands what the policies are, how they apply, and if you have questions, come ask somebody. Always ask somebody. There's no such thing as a stupid question, usually, right? So I'm sure we've heard a few stupid ones, but we try not to dwell on those. So same thing happens with AI right now. The pattern that we're seeing, that people are starting to do stuff. People looking for new tools, right? They're looking for AI for new tools. And I want to make sure that people understand that's the wrong question first. The right question is, what repetitive, manual, or error-prone work should AI help our business with, right? What should we eliminate? Mundane, repetitive tasks. What can we eliminate? And can AI do that, or automations do that? That's what you should be looking at first. Don't take the tool and try to fit it into your business. Figure out where you've got stagnation or problems or roadblocks, bottlenecks in your business, and then search for a solution to meet that, right? And I would go ahead and say, try to make sure that you're finding multiples. You're not just doing one at a time. That way that you can see if one tool can help you with multiple problems, right? That would be the ideal, instead of having 10 problems and 10 tools, right? That's never a good idea if you can help it. Maybe that's the case, that it has to be that way. But if you could do 10 problems and have 3 tools, much easier to manage, less to learn, right? So make sure that you're checking that, right? So that starts with self-inspection, taking a look at your business. Some things that you might want to think about, drafting internal documentation, right? Or help creating policies that we were talking about, right? Summarizing meetings. That's one of the first tools that I think we use AI for on a regular basis, is having it listening on our meetings and creating notes for those memories, so that we have a summary, and also it can make tasks. So and assign it to different people who are on the call, which is awesome, right? So first pass email responses. I have an AI tool that does that too. It's probably about 50-50 in my experience for how well it does things. It's not horrible, but sometimes I just don't want to quite be as verbose, and other times I've already taken care of it, or I might have drafted a quick email and it's drafted another email after I've already sent one, which is really, really weird. So there's that. Knowledge-based searching. Honestly, AI is not a knowledge base. Large language model is not really a large knowledge base, but it will go search other knowledge bases and present data to you, right? So you don't have to search through them if you don't want to, and it will hit multiples as opposed to you having to do that each, right? And again, AI done right is awesome, right? It creates focus, efficiency, and fewer mistakes. But AI done wrong creates chaos. And we don't need the chaos. This is what we're here to try to eliminate with AI, is chaos. So don't introduce chaos into your business. Have a plan and stick to it, and adapt as needed. But you definitely want to start with a plan before you start going out and buying AI tools. So that's about what I've got for this week. I know I'm a little early for once and not late. Unfortunately, one of my meetings has moved this year 30 minutes earlier. So I used to do this at 1 o'clock because I had a meeting at 1:30. My 1:30 is now moved to 1 o'clock Eastern time. I do not know what time I will permanently move this to, because that meeting is every other week. So I don't want to flip-flop times. It gets confusing, though. I'm sure most people watch this on the replay and not on the live stream. I should probably go find some statistics on that. But yeah, closing, last year my big close was, of course, cybersecurity starts with you. I want to remind everyone that is still true, that cybersecurity does start with you, and that when it comes to AI, move with a plan. plan ahead. Don't just pick some tools and just see if they work better, right? So I'm going to sorry, aim higher, operate smarter, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Not sure of the time yet. Hope you folks have a great, productive week. Hope you're having a great new year, and we'll see you next week.